All right. Thank you, Dark. And I guess I'll go next here. This is going to be one of the series. Oh wait, no, sorry. Near. Do you want to go next?
Um, sure. Um, Speaking of anime originals, I watched Bucchigiri,
Yes.
also
This
known
is
as Bucchigiri.
yes. This
Um,
is the Mappa series
yeah,
of the season,
this
also
is
known
Studio
as
Mapia.
the artist torturers themselves. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. The
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
the death camp runners.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, this is again anime original. This is a sort of comedy action like school battle thing. Um, I'm not really gonna go over the like synopsis or anything, because as we'll get into later, not much happens in the show. I'm gonna go over the staff first, because I think the staff on this are pretty wild. This is Hiroko Utsumi directing. Um, he is I think it's a he, percent sure, but they're a former Kiwani staffer. They previously directed a good handful of episodes for a series like Hyoka, Nichijou. They also directed Free season 1 and 2. Um, they also directed Banana Fish, and they also created and directed Skate the Infinity. Um,
Damn. What? Okay.
and then this also has Taku Kishimoto doing script, series composition, and he's the original creator as well. He's previously done script and series composition for Haikyuu, pretty much the entire series. Magi, Sinbad no Boken. Um, he's worked on Gintama for a very long time. He also did series composition for Osama Ranking. Um, and for animation directing and character design, which I think is also another relatively important position for a series with fucking weird ass character designs like this.
Hmm.
Hiroyuki Saita, who's previously worked on Chainsaw Man, Dance 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 Sure, Mushoku Tensei, and stuff like Review Starlight, Made in Abyss, etc.
Did
Um,
do you know if Utsumi and Kishimoto did they have they participated together in any other series, especially any other Mappa series, or is this their first time? Do you know?
as far as I can see, this is. I'm pretty sure this is their first time working together.
Okay, okay. So Utsumi was sort of the I'm guessing, yeah. So Utsumi is sort of the initial guy that was drafted by Mappa. He's been doing a couple of Mappa series after his stint at Kyoani, right? Done a couple of Mappa series, but he's the one that pulled up, I guess, Kishimoto, right, and some of the others.
More than
So yeah.
likely, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. So it's a pretty stacked staff, right?
Mhm.
Um, Map has got a decent amount of talent working on this, and I'm just gonna say straight up, this show is ass. Um, this show is not good.
All the chefs in the kitchen couldn't produce one good thing.
Yeah. So
uh,
I'll just start off with the basic, like general setup, and that's kind of as far as the show goes, right? So there's 6 episodes out. Keep that in mind. I watched all of them.
uh-huh.
So the series starts off with our main character, Adajin Tomoshibi, um, who has recently transferred to his new school, and the town that he's you know I guess moving back to is the town that he grew up in. Um, and the school is like weird and fucked up, and everybody in it is like a delinquent, and they're constantly like getting into fist fights and shit. Um, and Adajin is like not interested in that. All he cares about is meeting a cute girl, um, and getting laid, and he meets a cute girl, and her name is Mahodo Jin, um, and she puts on this sort of interested lovey-dovey act, but it's actually just sort of a ploy um, to get uh, her brother, which is sort of one of the leaders of one of the gangs at the school, to basically beat Audigen up. Um, and that happens, and he gets his heart broken, and then he ends up getting like chased around and he basically finds a genie, right? Um, and he wishes his one wish is to lose his virginity, and in order to grant that wish, the genie you know, makes him strong sometimes. He can punch really hard. Um, and
Isn't
that's
isn't this isn't that sort of main character setting similar to Chainsaw Man shit? It's like, is that what they're
yeah.
trying to point out here? Yeah.
So there's some definite parallels, right? And I
Uh-huh.
think the what I'll say is um if you remember back when Chainsaw Man was coming out, right? One of the big discourses was around how Denji, the main character of Chainsaw Man, is like, people were sort of lamenting him as like, oh, he's like one dimensional or whatever, because his like motivation at the start of the series is like to touch boobs, right? Basically, like he wants to fuck, right?
Mhm.
Um, but people sort of ignored the other aspects of Denji's character, like the fact that he's genuinely a good person, and he has like this eternal like innocence about him due to how he was raised, and he constantly wants to help people and save people or whatever, right? This main character has none of that. He has literally none of that at all. Literally, all he cares about is getting pussy. He is pathetic as fuck. He doesn't care about, being stronger or being a good person. Literally, he is a fucking slimy worm.
Corn
Um,
dog.
his best friend, quote unquote, his alleged best friend, um, is in one of the gangs, and like his best friend has the motivation of like becoming stronger to sort of like be this weird like urban myth that they have. I don't even remember what it's fucking called. Um, but it's basically like uh, like you know, a warrior basically, right? Like the
Mhm.
strongest warrior or whatever. Um, and the main character basically constantly fucking berates his best friend and calls him a loser and a stupid idiot and he's childish. Um, and all his best friend ever does is like, no, Audijin's a good guy. He's a good person. Um, and he's like constantly talking up this dude, and literally all he ever does is fucking backstab him and fucking betray him and abandon him and like two-time him, and it's like this guy's a piece of shit. Like he's actually a fucking garbage person, and there's like nothing likable about him. Um, and then you have like the female like quote unquote love interest who is literally a fucking snake. Like she's constantly fucking manipulating the main character with you know um like fake gestures of affection to get him to do stuff that she wants, and it's like she's like constantly showing her true colors to this dude, and he's still like, no, I love her though. I want to be with her, and it's like there's like nobody in this series outside of like the main character's best friend who's actually like a decent person who like when they're on
What?
screen you like root for them. Like nobody in this series is like you know somebody that you want to like even see on the screen. It's actually fucking unreal how unlikable all of these characters are. And pretty much all of them are fucking insane cliches. They're super over the top. Like they're constantly overreacting all the fucking time. Um like this show is almost insufferable. Like just
Y-
straight up.
Yeah, I think also the fans, partly Mappa fans and partly just idiots, are also pretty insufferable from what I'm reading. Do you want to read some of that review that I just posted here? They're like
Which one?
the one
God.
that I just posted. Yeah,
Oh, this one?
I
Yeah, I
yeah
saw this one. Where it's
I
like
won't
this
even
dude's trying to
attempt to
like,
properly. Yeah,
yeah, like this isn't even like, yeah, here, I'll read this. I'm here to spread the message. I won't even attempt to properly review this. This is a review, by the way. Shit's only 3 episodes at the time of writing, and it could easily slip into oblivion at any moment. For now, however, it delivers. That's a fucking straight up lie, by the way. Yes, neither the setup nor the premise are particularly enthralling. Yes, the presentation can be rather tacky with the artistic choices they made. Yes, it isn't anything extraordinary, but it's something. It's
do
something, people.
you want to read the
Um,
last sentence too?
yeah. Yep, this might very well be the best show of this season, which is a lie. Sure, Dungeon Meshi might be technically better, which
Quote
it
unquote.
is in pretty much every way, but it doesn't grab me by the cock nearly as firmly as Bucchigiri does. I don't know what he means by that, other than like he's gay and he just is like extremely horny for the designs in this show. But like, um, there's nothing really like fan servicey or like
Or gripping in any way.
yeah.
Gripping.
Um, like pretty much all the characters in this series are like extreme like caricatures and tropes that kind of just like slap against each other without any sort of concern or like hint of like chemistry or um character interaction or like actual comedy. It's kind of just like people screaming at each other all the time. um and yeah, I've seen some people sort of compare this to like early 90s like shonen. I don't really know where they get that from other than
What? Okay.
the like, I guess attempt at like slapstick comedy and the sort of like perverted MC, which I guess we don't
Yeah.
really see all that often anymore. Um but like even like perverted MCs like say Ataru, right, from Urusei Yatsura, who in that series is like depicted as scum, right? Like he's depicted as a fucking low life loser with like no redeeming qualities. Um, Even Ataru you can root for infinitely more than this MC. Like he's a wimp, he's a coward, um, he's a fucking simp for a woman that is like a just straight up a bitch, like just a horrible person. Um, and like all of the character interactions in this series are straight up confusing. Like the one character that's like kind of has the main character's back and is like looking out for him and like wants it like to be his friend. The main character like shouts at him and tells him to go away and that he doesn't like him. And it's like I don't understand. All of these characters that are like outwardly antagonistic to the main character, he's like, no, I want to hang out with you actually. I want to hang out with these guys. But the main character's best friend, who he's like, hey man, um, I want to spend time with you. I think you're cool. I think you're awesome. He's like, no, I hate you. You're stupid. You're dumb. And it's like, why? Like, like, do you just want the audience to fucking hate this main character? I don't understand. Um, but yeah,
I
it's
think
just not fun to watch.
I think Buchigiri is a very good example of how you can have people that are related to obviously, popular and nice series, right? And they wrote out this, they helped with the storyboard and the scripting and whatever, or art, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Right. And they can be involved with all of that. But when it comes to original anime, that suddenly, you know, the carpet gets pulled out from underneath them and they just crumple to the ground, right? And it's a little bit unfortunate because there's a difference between being involved with good series and material and story and everything, right? And actually creating that world piece by piece, character by character, arc by arc, episode by episode, right? And I think this is a consequence of it, right? They've been involved with so many of these storyboards and directing and how the anime adaptation is going to go of these of these great series like Banana Fish, like K-On, like whatever, right? But when it comes time to make this original series, they're just like, oh, what do we do? Chainsaw Man, maybe? And then it's just, the rest is history, right? So it, it is very unfortunate, I think I will say, that this happened.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't understand like what they were going for. Again. This has gotten like 6 episodes in, and the main character hasn't developed even remotely. Um. If anything, he gets worse as the
Is
series
this
goes
mini
on.
arcs? This is mini arcs, right? Or what's going on?
So the main arc throughout like the first 6 episodes. This is
Yeah.
a 12 episode series, by the way.
God
So the
damn.
first half of the series is the main arc is essentially the main character transfers to the school, right? Um, the main character's best friend like implores him to join like the same sort of gang that he is in. And the main character fucking backstabs him and joins the rival gang. Um, because that's the gang that like the girl's brother is in, right? And he wants to get close to the girl. So he backstabs his fucking friend by doing that, and then the gangs sort of get set up into like a gang war by this third gang that's um like stealing money from people all across town or whatever for like no particular reason. It's not really described at all as to why. But they sort of get like baited into fighting each other by this third gang. Um, and then that happens, and then everybody sort of realizes it's a setup, but then they fight anyway for no real fucking reason at all. Um, and then the main character has to fight the leader of the third gang, because and the keep in mind the only reason the main character decides to fight at all is because the the girl stands up for her brother who is injured, and the leader of the third gang like hurts the girl, and that's the only reason that the main character decides to fight. And keep in mind, during this fight, his best friend is about to be murdered, killed, like just straight up killed, murdered. And the only reason the main character decides to fight is because the girl gets like lightly slapped. Um, but yeah, like that happens, and that's like the end of episode 6. So like that's the first half of the series. Like the main character is a piece of shit. He gets a genie. Um, the genie does fucking nothing for 6 episodes, and then the main character punches one dude in the face, and it's like
Nice.
fuck, man. Like yeah, nothing fucking happens in the show. It's a bunch of people just being like really fucking annoying, trying to do like slapstick comedy bits. Um, yeah, it's really
Yo,
just
that's what you need, right? That's what makes Chainsaw Man good. You
yeah,
need the
true.
asshole guy who wants pussy. You need the slapstick that, related to everybody being assholes. You need some maybe Yuno's Kenshi, Yuno's Kenshi, and then you need Mappa. That's that easy viral anime right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Um, yeah, I guess I'll quickly go over the audio visuals. They're pretty good. I mean, There are some fight scenes in this that are really well choreographed, I think. Their color palette is pretty nice. The backgrounds I think in this are pretty cool. They've got the vibe for this show is weird. It's got like this almost like Indian, like Bollywood kind of like background color palette with like
Okay.
you know um sort of like these brown um streets kind of covered with like green and like bright red rooftops and stuff. The music as well sort of accompanies this sort of like, I guess Indian sort of inspired stuff. I guess it's because they're working with like genies and stuff. But um, yeah, the OP is okay, kind of boring. The ED is a little bit cuter, but the visuals don't really make any sense at all and don't really vibe at all with anything that the series is trying to do. Because the ED sort of hints at this weird like love triangle thing where everyone is fawning over the girl. But that doesn't happen at all in the series, so I'm not really sure why it's in the ED.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I don't know. The series is really confusing to me. I don't really know who it's for. Um, there's like no, it's like all boys, right? But there's no like, there's not even a remote like hint of um like fan service, you know what I mean? Like Fujoshi fan service or anything. Like there's no like sort of BL undertones or anything. It's kind of just like dudes that are like, yeah, I like fighting. Um,
This is this is only for aggressive ace people.
yeah,
It's
I,
their only
I don't
market.
know. Um, yeah, the show's really confusing. I really I can't I genuinely can't recommend it. I think this show is kind of ass. Um, but yeah, I'd probably give it like four, 4 out of 10. Um, yeah, I'd say not good overall.
Okay. Yeah. Unfortunate, but again, as I said before, this is I think a very prime example of what happens off when an anime original is made with the force of a bunch of creators who have been involved with a bunch of good works and have done good work, but kind of come to grips with the fact that perhaps they themselves are not the best creators of said worlds, right? Because it's one thing to adapt an anime for a known classic work, and it's another to actually capture that lightning in a bottle, to actually make that classic work, right? So again, very unfortunate.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, thank you very much. Again, this is Bucchigiri, an anime original by Mappa Studios. I believe this is the only Mappa series of this season, right? They didn't do anything else? Right?
Um, yeah.
Forget it, actually.
I
Yeah.
think is Jujutsu still going? I don't know, but
Oh, it might be.
either way.